Good evening, and welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Beasley, and joining me is none other than Khano Smith. Khano, first of all, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and congratulations. Um, it must feel, one, good, two, nerve-wracking to be the first coach of a team that has never, ever, ever played in the USL. The onus is on you. When this opportunity first came about, take us through that whole process of, is this something I need to be involved in, I want to be involved in, and I could be successful at?
Yeah, I mean it's a unique opportunity. Club coming into the USL Championship. I feel like I'm ready for the opportunity. I've been working in the league for 4 years and been at a club that's been successful in the league. So I just felt the next natural step for me was probably that. And I just feel everything that my experience so far has put me in this position and I'm ready. So yeah, it's obviously nerve-wracking. It's obviously issues that come up that we don't have anything right now, but it's a good problem to have. And if I wasn't, I guess, a little nervous or had a little bit of self-doubt, I wouldn't be human. So it's natural to feel that, and I feel I'm ready and I'm excited and looking forward to it.
When you look at your background as a footballer and then a football coach, when you would have gotten that phone call to see if you were interested, because obviously you know most of the players, and when I say the players, I'm talking about the owners of this new club. When you would have gotten that phone call, what would you have sat back and said to yourself to decide it's something you really, really, really want to do?
Well, the decision was made a long time ago for me. I knew it was something that I wanted to do, and I wanted to lead my own team. So when they called me, I was ready. I was obviously hoping that would be the answer, and they would choose me. And it was, once they said it, that was easy. That was the easy part, because I already decided a long time ago that was something that I wanted to do, is to lead my own team and to be able to make decisions and impact people and lead people, and obviously just putting all the skills that I've acquired over the years to use.
Now, the opportunity now to build this team, because obviously you have the draft, but you also have the opportunity to influence some players to come and play for you. How important is it, especially in the first year for you as a coach, to make sure you get that balance right?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the players, and you have to have good players. I don't care how good of a coach you are, you have to have good players. So that's gonna have to bring in my recruiting skills and my network and my relationships with people again to get players that are gonna fit style of play that we want to play and that are gonna want to play for our club and are gonna want to be part of what we're building on and off the field. We want good people. I want people that want to work for a group and help the group be successful, in turn helping themselves be successful. But it's always about the group and the team for me.
Now, you've kind of, well, I'm not 100% sure about, especially at the lower level, but whenever you put your name associated with a club, that club's already been established. So now that you're the head coach of a newly developed, unestablished team, how much work goes behind the scenes to ensure, one, Khano Smith has everything that he needs to be able to draft players. Two, Khano Smith is confident that he can get what he wants to make this Rhino season, his first season in 2024, a successful one.
Yeah, again, so actually USL doesn't have a draft, but we will get players from, players will get drafted from MLS, and they won't get they won't get signed to contracts. So obviously those players will be attractive to USL clubs. So I'll certainly pay attention to what's going in the MLS and the MLS draft. It's always good players that don't get signed, but then you're competing with MLS reserve teams now. MLS Next Pro, they have a reserve league, which is starting to compete with players that we're looking for. So we kind of have to be ahead of the game here. But look, it's work. So and it's work that I enjoy, and if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. So it's good work, and I'm looking forward to it. And nothing successful comes easy. So everybody in the league is just going to be working just as hard. My work's just going to be a little bit different because I'm building the core of my roster. So everybody else will maintain and keep the core of their roster. But I also had an advantage where I'm going to be only thinking about signing players for the beginning of the year, and teams are not going to be thinking that. So I can either use it to my advantage or my disadvantage, and I plan to make it an advantage for me because I'm looking to build a roster. And USL is free agent driven. There's a lot of free agency in USL, different than MLS. So that's where I'll look to build kind of the core of my roster is proven quality and USL talented players.
When you look at the experience you've been through in your coaching side of football, what would you say would put you in the right frame of mind to take this job? What position and what was that because we all know, okay, we can all take a coaching license badge and so forth, but something always triggers you to say, I'm now ready. When was that moment for you?
I don't know if it was one moment. I just think it was a collection of work and getting mentored and studying leadership and watching other people work and how other people influence groups of people. I just don't think it was one moment. And look, are you ever ready? Like, are you ever ready to lead a group of people? Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I feel ready, but I think there was one moment where I sat back and said, yeah, this has put me in good stead to do that. But I just felt that I've been ready for a long time, and it's going to be things that I don't know, and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to put myself and surround myself with people that are smarter than me in certain areas and let them do the job and let them lead, and getting good players around me and trying to inspire them. And it's, that for me, that's what it's about. Being a coach is inspiring people and leading people to be the best and organizing people to work collectively together into one goal. And that's to become better as a team and perform good as a team. The results will obviously take care of themselves. That's what we can't control, but there's a lot of things that we can control.
Your name has been bounced around because obviously whenever the Bermuda senior men's national team don't get a result, everybody's looking to chop the head off of the coach. But your name has been bounced around. If offered the opportunity to lead Bermuda, what would be one of your biggest concerns? Because, and I'll say this wholeheartedly, I mean, I'm pretty sure every coach wants to lead. Everybody that's involved in the sport of football, if given the opportunity to lead the national team, will want to lead the national team. But what would be your biggest concern in leading the national team?
So let me say this, first of all, Kyle has done an extremely good job, and I think people have extremely short memories when results don't go the correct way. Kyle has led the national team to his biggest ever achievement and making the Gold Cup, and I think people need to respect that, and he deserves all the credit that he's done. And I know Kyle. I looked up to him as a player, and I really related to him because I lived in Warwick, and I went and saw a lot of PHC games. He was left-footed like me, so he was somebody that inspired me as a young player. So somebody that I got a lot of time for, and I think he's done a tremendous job with the national team. And obviously, I've just signed this position, so I'm not thinking of anything else currently at the moment. I want to do the best thing for my club and making my club successful and putting a team on the field that's going to win games. Some point a long time away in the future, I love to coach the Bermuda national team. Yeah, it's always been a dream of mine, but I don't think that's anywhere in the near future, unfortunately. And a concern I would have is it's concerns with every every coaching role, and it's obviously concerned with this one and things that we need to get right and things that we need to get done and timelines and things that you're able to push. But look, with Bermuda national team, we're always going to be the underdog, unfortunately, because we're playing against powerful nations that have professional leagues. We're playing against Mexico. We're playing against the U.S. We're playing against Costa Rica. We're playing against Jamaica, who has a strong league. We're playing against Haiti, that always has talented players. We're playing against Canada, that is a top team in the region now that's produced excellent players around the world that are playing in top divisions. So obviously, most of our players are amateurs and competing against that. And I think we punch well above our weight, but we're always going to be up against it because, unfortunately, the game in our country is not professional. So I think at some point, we need to start looking at ways to be able to close that gap. And yes, we have tons and tons of young players overseas playing in universities and prep schools in the U.S. and playing in academies and Premier League clubs. But then that comes with its own challenges because now they're playing it all scattered in the different places all over the globe. So those be some challenges, but those are things we could also use to our advantage. So look, I think at some point, we're definitely going to start getting closer, making it to a World Cup just to buy the changes of what's happening. So I just think as a country, and this is not just on the BFA, it's with everyone, to come up with a strategic plan of what's really our goals and how do we make a World Cup? How can we as a country support the BFA, support the coaching staff, support the players to be able to be the best versions of themselves when they need to be, and that's when they compete against other countries.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm almost blue in the face by saying the clubs are the Bermuda Football Association. The clubs decide what leagues we're going to play or all that type of stuff. And then they elect the people who run football. So they're in a position to dictate what direction football is going. I know that the presidents meet all the time, but are we 100% sure that the presidents are talking about the direction of football? Because, as you know, you came up playing for Dennytown, and then you got the opportunity to go into a professional field and the like. But Dennytown had a style. It suited what you were doing. I mean, you helped them to win at a young age, win trophies. However, what we really want to do is make sure that the entire league is just as strong playing, if we're going to go internationally, playing similar style football. How do we, and I'm going to ask you because you've been in an environment that has been different, however, collective. How do we change that mindset?
Yeah, I just think you have to have people in positions that have a growth mindset. I can't speak for who's in what clubs and who's doing what and who's making decisions. I can speak about my club and I can speak about what's probably happening at North Village because I'm close with Kenny and he's a mentor of mine. And I know that him and people like DeVar Boyles, I think they see the big picture and they want what's best for. Obviously, they want what's best for their club and their first team and youth club. But I also think if you ask those people, and both of them, by the way, their history shows you that they want what's best for the national team. So, look, I can't speak for other people, but I just think you need people that have growth mindsets and that can see the big picture. And the big picture, unfortunately, is not winning the league in Bermuda because that's 67,000 people that watch that and pay attention to that. Outside of that is no one else that really pays attention to that, and that's just a fact. So if we want to really make an impact on the global game, a real impact, we need people that need to think outside of Bermuda. And there's people there that do that, but those people need to be listened to, and then those people need resources to be able to go ahead and impact the game in a positive way.
Now, you've had the opportunity to not only play the game at a high level, but also coach the game at a high level. what are some of the things you will actually lean back on to help you help you be successful in this new position? Because you have an entire season and a year to kind of put your stamp on how you want the Rhinos to play.
Yeah, look, for me, it always starts with my competitive drive. I learned that from watching my mother compete, playing softball, playing netball, going and watch her, going and watch Dandytown games, and when I was young. So I just think that's where I learned my competitive drive, and being able to compete, and my passion for the game. And it's for me, and doesn't have to be the same for everyone else. But if I don't have passion and if I'm not enjoying it, then I might as well not be there. So that's why I do it, because it's not work to me. I enjoy it. So those are two core belief values that I can always lean back on, is competitiveness, and I think they go hand in hand: being competitive and being passionate about what I'm doing.
So let me ask you: are you a physical type coach, or are you a standoffish coach? And when I say physical, getting involved to show the players Khano Smith could still do this.
Yeah, I think coaching is a balance. Like I don't think I'm one or the other. I think I need to be able. My job is to be able to give the players what they need and whatever they need from me. So sometimes I just need to sit back and let them figure it out. Sometimes I need to be involved and be direct and say, no, this is what I want. This is what I need you to do. In other situations, I may just need to back off and let them figure it out and let them struggle. And then I can come in and help and guide them to where we want to go.
One of the things that we find ourselves in Bermuda, particularly in Bermuda, a lot of people talking about the fact that we have so many quote unquote qualified coaches. When we say B license, C license, B license, A license. However, the standard of football is not where it was even when you played. How do we get our young people to start loving football again?
And again, I don't think I'm ever going to be the guy that's the old guy that's standing on my porch and saying that I was better than, like, these guys can play, and it's obviously, and if the people that are saying that, like, you probably didn't do a good job of mentoring people. Right. If you think the level of the game has dropped. So I don't think it's solely on the players. They can only go on what's being taught to them. But look, it's the world changing and people are doing different stuff. And, it's at the end of the day, is maybe it's top players in Bermuda that are not playing anymore, because what does the game really offer them outside of winning the league? Yeah, it's guys that have done that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. But what does it really offer them, and what has it really done? Right. And has it changed their life, and has it impacted their life? Yeah, of course, people love the game and they want to play the game. And I just think it's, I think as a country we can do a lot more to invest in the game. For me, one thing I would change, and I was speaking to somebody else about this the other day, is for me, fields in Bermuda, and I know it's going to be expensive, that are just used for football.
Yeah.
Why are they grass? They should be turf. They should be turf. And I know that's a cost and it's an investment and it needs to come from somewhere. But all of a sudden, say, for example, use North Village's field. Beautiful field in the beginning of the season. After 2 weeks, it's finished because you have however many teams they're playing on it, training on that pitch. And it's so easy for someone to sit there and watch the game and say, yeah, oh, this guy, he's this, he's that. He's not good because he's missing this chance. But he's playing in a field that's got bumps all over it. Yeah, technically, it impacts the players. So a field like that, in my opinion, that's solely used for football should be turf. And then however many youth teams North Village has, men's teams, women's teams that maybe all train and play at the same place, now they have a proper surface to play on. And by the way, some of the turf fields that are in Bermuda are not maintained properly as well. Because you can look at them and watch, and you can see that those fields haven't been raked. The rubbers are clumped up and it's dangerous. So, you can see I remember being at clubs and at schools that it's one guy from the department of, I don't know if it's youth and sport, but they come around and they cut all the fields, they cut the grass. You could do the same with a rake. Somebody has a tractor and it has a rake attached to it, and all of a sudden all the fields are flat. But that's just my opinion, and I know it's a cost, and I know it's expensive. I think it's an investment that would impact the sport in our country positively. Because we're asking a lot of these guys to be able to go out and play on surfaces that, if we'll be completely honest, they're poor. Yeah. And top players will struggle to play on those surfaces.
Definitely. But let me just say, I'm glad you've expressed your opinion. And I have to say this, and I want people to understand, Khano Smith expressed his opinion on the circumstance. So if you have a different of opinion, that's your opinion. But Khano Smith has taken the time to express himself. And I do appreciate that, because a lot of times, Khano, and in your career of playing and even coaching, it's easy to say what you should have done after the game, but people never put themselves in the position prior to the game to have that say. And that's where I think we in Bermuda struggle a lot, because we're always talking past tense. Well, I would have not played this person, or I should have had this person, and it's easy to do that. And you've acknowledged the job that Kyle Lightbourne has done. And right now, because the team haven't had the results that one would have wanted, everybody wants his head. And I'm pretty sure there's going to come a time at Rhode Island, because remember, this is going to be Khano Smith's team, that some fans will want your head, but it's whether or not the management give you the support that is needed to give you the confidence to say, you know what, let me ride this wave. In your career, and you've been an assistant coach, and you've been, through college, through your playing career, the ride, the waves you've been on, how much of that will you rely on when it comes down to your coaching?
The wave is the wave. You can't control it. I can't control what other people think. I can't control what other people want. All I can control is what I do on a day-to-day basis, how I interact with my players, how I interact with the club. So, yeah, are we going to win every single game? Absolutely not, and I know that. I would love to have the ball 90% of the time, score 4 goals, score 5 goals, completely play the other team off the field, but the other team has a plan too. And they're prepared, and they have a good coach. So I can only control what I can control. So that's what I rely on, is what I believe as a person.
Yeah. So let me ask you, USL, you've had an opportunity, or you will get an opportunity to look at the strengths and the weaknesses of the league. Because, as we know, on a given day, a footballer could turn up. And on a day, a footballer cannot turn up. But looking at the overall structure of the USL, in your first year, where are you looking to kind of, I don't want to say finish, but what would be, quote unquote, a successful Khano Smith season? First year.
Honestly, you probably won't like the answer, but I just want to win the first game and then deal with the next game after that. So right now I'm preparing for the first game that's going to be in March of 2024, and then I'll worry about what happens next after that. That's it.
Listen. Let me tell you, and you know me. So you saying win the first game, I'm not going to be disappointed at that, because you want to win your first game. And I'm pretty sure I want to say close to 150 people watching, they want you to win that first game. You know why? Because you're a son of the soil, and we're going to support you. Just know that we're here, and when you need to lean back just a little bit, I know you already have your supporting cast and everything, but there's a whole host of other people that really want to see Khano Smith, be successful. because literally is a son of the soil, a Bermudian professional coach, USL, you know, and an inaugural team. Bermuda had the Hawks, but here we now have Khano Smith leading an inaugural team in 2024. You get to pick the players you want. You get to do what would be Khano Smith's biggest fear for 2024, especially when you start selecting the players you want. Obviously, because you're not long away from being a player, and I'll say this: if you're 6 years away from being a player, in reality, that's not a long way away, because I'm pretty sure you think you could still play, right?
I don't even think about it. I think about prepare the team the best way I can to win games. So
Right.
if
Right.
I'm needed to jump in training, I'm certainly athletically still able, but I'm under no illusion that I could do what these players do.
Hey, one thing for sure, then Tom Hornets gonna use you this year, boys.
Hey, it's never gonna be smooth sailing. They'll be
No,
back.
no, but I mean, I make light of that. However,
Yeah.
You carry a persona about yourself of confidence, of ability to get a job done. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you put yourself out there, you put yourself out there not just as Khano Smith, but as a Bermudian. Would I be wrong in saying that?
No, I'm always Bermudian. I'm Bermudian to my core. That's where I grew up. So I love every time something positive happens to me and the response that I get, people at home. And look, I have my support system. And the thing I like about Bermuda is a lot of it's still pretty old school with people that could reach me. And all they need to do is on social media or they can text me. They have my number, but they just will see a family member and say, hey, just let them know we're thinking about them. We're proud of them. So look, I know my responsibility. I know that I have to represent my country well, but it also instills those beliefs and values in me. So I will always be there, and that's never going to change. That's who I am, and that place gave me that. So I'll always, that's what I am. Can't change.
I know I've caught you this evening, and I want to thank you for joining us this evening, because I honestly believe I'm here to give you the support that you need to let people know what Khano Smith is doing with Rhode Island in the lead up to the 24 season. I'm going to look to get to Rhode Island to see how things are progressing for you and your team in the lead up to the next season, because support is one of the things, and I always say this: a familiar face brings happiness and confidence. And the more you see kind of this face, when I see your face, and knowing, what you've been able to do on and off the field would only help. And that's what I'm willing to kind of help out in a regard to see Khano Smith lead Rhode Island in their first match in the 2024 season in the USL Championship. How's that?
Yeah, look, and obviously appreciate your support and what you do for sports in Bermuda. It's obviously not a lot of people that do what you do, so it's for good and bad. I think you need to hold people accountable, and I think you do, and I think you do it for the right reasons. And I've always enjoyed the support of Bermudians. When I was playing, Bermudians would come and support my teams, and I know for a fact that I'll be seeing some Bermudian flags when we open up our stadium and we're playing there. So looking forward to it, and obviously some of those visits will be planned. People will let me know, and there'll be others that are living in the area, and they'll just show up, and it'll be a familiar face. So I definitely look forward to that, and I know that other than Sacramento with our boy Zico, that Rhode Island FC will be a Bermudian USL favorite.
Yes, indeed. Well, Khano, I want to thank you very much for your time this evening, and we'll be talking with you again soon in the lead up to, well, as this season goes on, because obviously you have your eye on what's going on this season as you prepare for the start of next season, and what direction you want to go in, and the whole gamut. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't understand what a professional football coach has to go through to mold players to understand what he wants and get that through those players of a team effort. And I want to wish you all the best, boys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, folks, thank you very much. Khano, thank you very much. Enjoy your night.
All right. Thanks.